We do prostration together. Namo Manju Shri Ye, Namo Su Shri Ye, Namo Dhamma Shri Ye Su Ha, Namo Manju Shri Ye, Namo Su Shri Ye, Namo Dhamma Shri Ye Su Ha, Namo Manju Shri Ye, Namo Su Shri Ye, Namo Dhamma Shri Ye Su Ha. 接到做给出脑来，将主把多当地给数据，打给去年给别出囊给，做了本街上给主把数。接到做给出脑来，将主把多当地给数据，打给去年给别出囊给，做了本街上给主把数。接到做给出脑来，将主把多当地给数据，打给去年给别出囊给，做了本街上给主把数。 北给中心美多张，日华灵犀你的天巴地，上给新都米的无阿耶，都给那大西那绝巴说，一当不如让那美拉拉看的呀大呀米。
아토마 도마지네 시제제다 다고 세디 가든 좀 자다 마마 집어 지금 마시 받아 단지 문제는 진제지 만드나 대원도 랑도 보러 지금 동안 바시 뭐 대가 피지점이 진제지 만드는 그 피스 토바라 되는 좀 대가 주지 다고서 대신 만나면 시제나
All sentient beings have been our mothers, and all sentient beings have been our mothers for numberless times, not just once. All sentient beings are as kind as our mothers of this life. Even though all kind mothers sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering, however, due to engaging wrongly with the objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment, they experience the result of suffering only. In our mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all suffering. In our mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice if all kind mother sentient beings had excellent happiness. May all kind mother sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind mother sentient beings to have excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
어디에서 동화진의 신제 대다 통지지 리지 내나 전중화시 내발아서 리지 못 비춰 하다가 좀 저 지지 저다고 셔 이다 신이 발아마나 신지가 무슨 신제가
Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings. How nice if the body of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as pain, sicknesses, and problems caused by four elements. May the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the body of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
어디에서 동화진의 진제지 만드는 이진지 작은 동네에 너도 자랑해 봐 타다가 좀 저 지금 저다고 셔 대신에 뭐하면 신이
Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from a class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as fear, anxiety, coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
어디에서 진제지 만드는 ngāgi dzīgā sī mājī ngīmbā chārā thārā chāna chāma chāwa chīchī chāwa dāgī shāwa tīdā shēni ngā mā nā shīchī ngā sī.
Next, we think, how nice if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue, like those negative speeches, telling lies, speaking harsh words, etc. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Tā tē yī sī ndā ndā tēchē yī māndā nā chā gō sī yī shāwa tū nā yī kī bī chū thārā rā chāma chāma chāwa chīchī chāwa dāgī shāwa tīdā shīchī ngā mā nā shīchī ngā sī.
In brief, may the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be. How nice if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Tā tē yī sī sī tā jī dāngī jī jā dā chāma chāma chāwa chī chāwa dāgī shāwa tīdā shīchī ngā mā nā shīchī ngā sī.
Next, we think, how nice if all mother sentient beings were free from suffering and its cause. May all mother sentient beings be free from suffering and its cause. I will cause all mother sentient beings to be free from suffering and its cause. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Tā tē yī sī dōngā jī nā sī tīdā tāng sī kōwa tā ngā sī dōngā rī tōng gī sī dā pōgō nō sī gī ngē rā lā pō jī tā tī nē kā sī yāng tā wā tō pō sāng jī jī kōpā nī bā rī sī lā yāng tā wā tō pō sāng jī dā nī sī jī tāng jī tī sāng jī jī kōpā rā pō jī jī rī jā tō bā shā wā chāng jī sī bō rī.
Next, we generate bodhicitta first by asking ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so now. Who have the abilities? Only those who have achieved the perfect complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will become Buddha.
Tā tē yī sī tāng jī tī sāng jī jī kōpā tā wā shā wā nō mē bī sē kūnzā bā tā nī āngā nī kā dā yī jī wā wā sī dā bī nā mā chī dā chī chē tāng jē rā yī jī mā tī tōng bā nī wā āngā sē rō jī dā jī bī tē tā bī chā jū sē āngā nī kā dā yī jī dō jē kā bā tsē ngā bī nā mā chī dā chū sē sā tū sē nā bā chī shī tāng jī nā jī kā sī chī.
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind. The aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, may I become Buddha. These transform into a white mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, that all phenomena are lacking of inherent existence. That transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
Tā tē yī sī dā pōngbō tā rāng yī jī chū bī jī dā tā tē kāng tē yā mā tū bī rāng yī chū bī tōng wā yī sā tū sī pōngbā mē chū bī sī tū.
Next, we meditate on emptiness, that I exist neither inherently one with nor inherently different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist inherently.
That is what the double shingle is a project to be managed since the batch. Tambope, Nessa goes Chibikas Bear, Nessa goes to gates or come, goes to the gates or come, but that time she sent it to the Papang news at the don't say which to achieve. She be patchy. She was don't say so kitchen.
Next, as I always say, that it's very important to conjoin our virtuous practice with the practice of 6 perfections. And the first one is generosity. Generosity is mainly about the mind of giving. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever roots of virtue that I accumulate through my 3 doors, I give it to all sentient beings.
Nessa goes to cheap because the Gogin Junior, but the chicken the pony sat in the Ponce Yabush, with the major Ponce Yabuchi to Baina. That was traditional Ponce Ambassador, what I did.
Next is morality. And morality is about minds of abandonment. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest.
That's the boss of the city project, Mutubi Sembas, more than it was. I want to be some of the cheap because the Sena Kami Kadichu and get a straight to what you inside the
Next is the patience. And patience is the undisturbed mind. Patience is an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical or mental hardships that occur, I will willingly accept it. I will embrace it.
That is 20 also. That Nessa goes to Shiba Telepet Gawata, 2 activity tap on that. You are doing the Sinji tensions means a singing about 2. You are 2 symbols.
Next is joyous effort. Joyous effort is a mind enthusiastic for virtue, or it's a mind that takes delight in virtue. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will take delight in accumulating virtue and working for the welfare of sentient beings.
That is the scientists or the same game about Korudilla Tiki the name Bas, it is scientific. I also pay near some goes to because also somebody gave me particular need to purchase. Now the non to Maswaji. Yes, you are.
Next is meditative concentration. Meditative concentration is mind single-pointedly abides on any of the virtuous objects. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the virtuous object and do not get influenced by distractions and conceptual thoughts.
That's the and that chair at Namji Sheriff. Did a public about chair at number G laws and which to so what that sheriff did. Condang also Nessa goes Chibi, because the Pio Lachimbo have a shame. Let's see that there's a Karina, but there's a Lebaji Abuji shit was Chumbaina. Thank you, much.
And next is wisdom. And wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes the phenomena, which is mentioned in the Lamrim text. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly understand that this is greatly beneficial, and I will also properly understand the words and the meanings of the teachings. Sad motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, may I become Buddha. In order to achieve this purpose, I will properly receive the commentary on Heart Sutra and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Oh yeah, thank you. 나는 어서 내 시험이 그저 자와도 그들 따오려라. 힘이 뭐로. 너는 또는 시험이 뭐로. 자와.
자와 대견하러 하시나.
자와도 뭐 되잖아.
나서.
그래서 프랑스를 얘기로 하죠.
선수의 이유.
프랑스 연애 된 맞은 대화도 맞대나.
아.
이건 아주 대화도 치고요라고.
당연히 수비. 당연히 수비.
수사이be.
당연히 수비인데 이야기야. 그래서 자와 대견하러 해.
그때 자와 프랑스 얘기로 맞네. 무슨거?
네가 요이. 공주 네가 요이.
여러.
이내 카바 비주 땅에 나데 네가 통투마 두지라.
다 같이 가서 돼. 운동을 맞대는 데라 간다. 혈입이 좋아 시스템아 인디마 추진로야 좋아. 들마지 쉬어있어. 다 도도도도 거 이해는 뭐마 도도도 좋아.
So previously we briefly talked about discussions of the actual sutra produced from that. So regarding the second, which is the meaning of the sutra, actual sutra, then there are three parts: how Shariputra asked his questions, how Avalokiteshvara answered, and how that was admired by the teacher. So then I will quickly go through once again on how Shariputra asked his question.
백관의 혈입을 백관의 장주선과 선거적 법과 진리스나 오시는 되게 진리에서 오세 다디에 간다 아디로와 디오 트리마 줄로지와
Yeah. So then by the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the superior Avalokiteshvara, how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? So here indicates the cause of asking the question.
다 조항이들에 가르치고서 리지프 강화 실제 프로젝트 삼미제바 지방 대박 지달라바 샤세 다 조항이들와 지대.
And the actual question is, he said this, and the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the superior Avalokiteshvara said it. 가자. 공다 양계승으로 나기라.
리지프 강화 실제 프로젝트 삼미제바 지방 대박 지달라바 샤세 다 조항이들.
Yeah. So in this cause of asking the questions, and the actual question is, how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom?
다디게 전달라보다 간다들이 다 간다 리지프 강화다 같이 지도 지셔자로와 간다 리지프에서 리지프다 부모서와 간다 디제리다 된바 디제리다 된바로와 다 디제리다 된바스 라우디 간다 딜로가 보다 부모님의 그바다 딜로가의 중심 두서 가르스나 위도 상황도 똑같아 나한테 또 비인디 탄지 나한테 또 비인디 탄지 간다 제바다 분명히 때 혼나다 지그리에서 기도그리나 사마다 많이 소라 내가 뭐지 대다라 파이 모스 가이치도 대다라 모스 가이치도 그 리지보다 모스 두스메어에서 노고도와
Yeah, so how should any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Then this is the actual question. So in relation to these actual questions, the commentary says, so son and daughter of the lineage means that those who have the Mahayana lineage. So the purpose of saying son and daughter is that only those who are male or female can create all the good qualities of the path and the realizations. Eunuchs and impotent people, or in other words, is neuter. So eunuchs and neuter cannot. So it's the purpose of excluding eunuchs and neuter.
다 간다 사마다 많이 되는 것도 지난 것은 도와주는 소리를 해서 또 받치고 말씀에 도와주는 것 때문에 좋아. 또 받치고 말씀에 그 뭐를 이노 다단단 디가서 가서 사마다 많이 나가서 또 받치고 말에 리지보다 부모스 나게 이제 또 받아 이제 단지 제바다 분명히 되는 지역마다 사마다 많이 되는 지도고 말에서 그 소리를 That is one gala sama the money that top of my TV Jose Garris, that Jose Gurua. That Jose the Kanda, sama money is also about sama money is all a Kanda. What's up, Chuan, the Che Chuan, as Jose the Jose the Shadow. What's a Chuan? That what's a Chuan, the Che Chuana? That what's a Lanzing Mari, Che Lanzing, Zingo Marwakada, or Manziba. Then what's a Chuan, the Che Chun Jose, the Toba, Chig Marais Jose. That Jose the Tadam to will it.
Never Mazemba.
Oh, that Chuan, the Hajang, that Jim shooting what's a cheers and what.
Was that? Oh,
What's a Chuan, the Che Chuan, yes, Jose. That was Topa Gila Jola, what's a chill, the Che Chua, yes, what. They never in a Topa Chit to Maracanda.
Yeah, so the purpose of saying son of the lineage and daughter of the lineage is to show that male or female can create all the good qualities of the path and the realizations. And the purpose of saying son and daughter of the lineage is to exclude eunuchs and impotent people, neuter, so they are unable to develop realizations. So in many other texts and Sutra as well, mentions that eunuchs and neuter are unable to develop vows in their mind stream. So the reason why they are unable to develop realization is because they have little shame and embarrassment. So shame and embarrassment that we studied before. Yeah, so they have little shame and embarrassment. So in fact, in order to develop realization in one mind stream, then one has to have shame and great shame and embarrassment. So however, because of their few shame and embarrassment, they are unable to develop realization.
当我这题是开始我自己信息就基本上落实是吧？简单的，但都是落实的，我这北京的另外人。当我这句话的讲到，让经济的协会，讲到我才喜欢去，只有说的已经就是协会都能讲到，只有个就没有了哇，没有了哇。他讲到，当我才没把它，只有没把钱呢，这讲到对年轻人重要嘛是吧？我才没把它，只有没把呢，让经济的协会年轻人重要嘛，现经济的协会年轻人重要嘛是吧？ 我蛮重要是的，但讲到什么问题上边，还讲我在追求，等于就是什么话，
So shame and embarrassment are exactly the same as we learn in mind and mental factors, and this is how we use the knowledge on mind and mental factors on this. Like for example, when we talk about shame, shame is avoidance of misdeeds on account of oneself, right? Or in considerations of oneself. And embarrassment is avoidance of misdeeds on account of others. So they avoid a misdeed for oneself or for others. So then that makes shame. That is the difference between shame and embarrassment. So since they have few or little shame and embarrassment, therefore they do not avoid misdeeds. So since they do not avoid misdeed, they are unable to, then that becomes the reason why they are unable to develop realization.
但等于呢，什么嘛？你是在那军事界的，你军事的点不休息同时啊，所以我是同样就记得，那我在情况的这些情况的时候，我呢，什么嘛？你说的，我说加班多吧，因为是力量的那边，我说是力量的，要么多有个力量不错，这那边干了，但可能是那边都是哪怕电视个那边。 老把店里来呢，但可能呢，我这些老板呢，开始不知道现在结果的，我说人店里不知谁呢，对父母说这话的，但开始我怎么这玩意呢？可能是可能给什么店都结果的，或者么子感觉呢，你店都结果，可我参去我是去人嘛的，但他们现在店里可能是这个的，不是，不像可能是这个的。 你嘛这玩意呢，可能店都结果的，我没店都结果，哦，你有人我，等我说是那忙不多少了吧？
我们是给铺的洗有了，
不的，我刚刚洗的快了。被洗不洗？对，快了去，我才这个嘛，只有些要嘛快。因为那次我说同样叫的，我说当时两嘛送去多几个，送去多的个了，人呢就是我们这快那个的去搞。现在手脚的，不因为说到了，父母也说到了，给钱不帮计划。 要这所的父母这10万多钱，现在都没有的，都全部都是全上个有的。 다 동원에 소리에서는 뭐서도 제 총어에서 가서 비자는 너무 응원에 거라 들리요. 이 상황 현재 지금 콘레션을 항상 이 지시자 지금.
Yeah, so regarding Unix and neuter, so that is quite true because it's something that we can perceive even nowadays. So especially if you if you have been to India before and then you travel by train before, then you definitely have seen this before. So in India, sometimes when we travel, like for example, travel to Dharamsala, then we go by train, and then it is a long journey, right? And then in the train, then sometimes this neuter. So neuter is like yeah. So you cannot how's it difficult to distinguish their gender. Yeah. So that is what neuter means. So difficult to those whose gender is difficult to be differentiated. So and then in the train, then these as a neuter people, and then they will come clapping hands. So they will come to your coach and then clapping their hands. So the purpose of the purpose is to ask money from the passengers. So and then those passengers regardless is male or female, so they are afraid of them, and then they will make will quickly take out some coins and some money and then and give to them. So the purpose of the reason why they are scared of them is because if you do not give money to them, then they will show you their secret part. Yeah, they will show you their secret part. So then the passengers are very scared of them, right? Therefore, they will quickly give money to them. So showing secret part to the passengers itself is a sign of having lesser shame and embarrassment.
또 두스제 권하나 뭐 서충하다 제일 중요해서 등외에 서레셔스 간스나 기다데 뭐죠 베비리 들이 코테 바이나 건nom도 계속 말이 자가를 때 그때 바이나 자가 프랑스 nom도 쉬시고 도데 그때 바이나 다 민상 거로서 뭐 간지나고 야 지에 nom도 전부 쉬시고 해서 이 랑사 대장 지금도 그저 쉬고
Yeah, so if this happens to Tibetans, and Tibetans we don't really think too much, or in other words, is we do not have such superstitions. And however, for Indians, they really have regard this as something very bad. So it's they are very superstitious of this. So they are very superstitious of this, and then they will make sure they will quickly take out the coins and give them money.
두스제다 다 사마다 많이 지나가서 똑같이 말투가 진짜데 당어서다 제일 중요하시 쇼는 개발하시 다데 진짜라고 저기 통수와 이 지금도 두는 말이지 좋아.
Yeah, so here it says that eunuchs and impotent or the neuter people are unable to develop realizations, just like what is mentioned in the sutra or in the text. That's why I share with you the experience in India.
다 디게질라 강나라시 흉도하다 다 강나라세와 가서 제다 마시와 동반이나 못 잡아다 내가 여기 간다 순다시나가 수루로 다 냐네 제총 레시디린도 강나라세와 와 다 디게 냐네 산지 존데 가서 출래 냐네 제와라 리더 저도 또 말이스 두바 저거에서 다 산지 강도 송사와 그래서 리 톨레라 티셔요 말이스 두바 저 제게레스 두바 저 레스 간다 리라 제가 요 말이스 어디서 봐나시 어디서보다 강나라서다 간다 제가 마시 와서 드려 가시기 제 줘봐 나네 제 줘봐 가시 제모 줘봐 리게 제시고요 말이스 상무 동반이 되나 간다 소소 되라 나네 지에 근데 봐 이용케지 리톰에 간리나 상황이 제종을 해서 어디 스루스 강나라서
Yeah, so Kanlala in English is whosoever or anyone. So this shows that distinctions are not made. There is anyone who doesn't fear emptiness and has interest and is suitable is suitable to practice. So whoever doesn't fear emptiness and have interest, then the suitable vessel, or they are the suitable person to practice emptiness. So, and these words, anyone or whosoever, exclude, this anyone or whosoever says, because they are in the past, then it's not some practice. This is not some practice to be done by some people and then not to be done by some people. It is not like that. So this anyone says that anyone who doesn't fear emptiness and has interest in it are suitable to practice emptiness.
다들 삼이 제거 기타라바 샤스다 지제고 다들 속에 동반기 때 삼이 동반기 때 하정의 자체보다 쉬우지리스 다 자체보다 쉬우지 이마이나 다들 앞에 무슨 년이 지야 내가 여기 라바 런디 여기 다 그런 집에 년이 간디지 제거래 해서다 내가 도도도 되래 들어와 내가 도도 되래 들어와.
Yeah. So this precious, profound emptiness. So who has interest in it and who wish to practice it, then how do they practice? So this is the questions. How should any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom?
다 간다데 지나 다 진행이 시다 왜 아무데나 삼이 제방 가서 되는 뭐 빼자 하나는 제바제바제 제반의 리시 정도와 간다데 가시를 제바다 가시 제바더니 야마 비스 투르세와지 딱 단다치나 삼이 제바세와데 유나 파샤 나로 이제 제바세와 데바디 가서 유지 냥서 렘바고 그런 거 찾아 주고 삼다데 삼이 제바세와데 유나 파샤 로와 제바디라 제바 제바세와다 데 간다 유지 냥서 렘게
제바 되바
제바 데바 다 냥서 렘게 데 간다 냥서 렘게 다 전주 선바 야 간다 수다시나 간다 냥서 렘바부디 와 우리들의 샤는 디버스.
So this paragraph is the explanations on words. Explaining that, or in the past, then they use the words wrongly. So one is like jieba de, and some is you're supposed to say jieba de, but in some texts, then it says jieba de. Yeah, so this is in Tibetan. Yeah, so the difference is one is O here and one is A here. And one is A here and here is O, yeah. So anyway, so the point is the profound practice, because when you translate it into English, then it doesn't have much difference. So profound practice refer to the object, and those who wish to practice refer to the person.
다디 당어도마 제르지레 다들마 쉬에니로와 다디 가서 주어리 슈츠바 지로와 다 주어리 슈츠니 다 렌지야 칼리브로와 렌드 간다 다 렌지야 지당 가서 배 셰르니 보진나로 다 렌지야 로츠데 다 간다 도도시나 간을 주어들라 다 사미 제반데바 럭기도 쪽에 다 간다 소쇼고 간다 토이나다 곰비나다 물로비 토싱나 데 간디 제보레세 다 간다 랑아볼라 간디지 러브레스 된다 도도 제들이다 랑아라 냐리 간디지 러브레스 다 소모 동반지도 땅 간다 미니 비나데 상지지 공바데 토고로와 보다 데니 토발라 랑아라 냐바 러브레스로와 상지지 공바데 토발라 다 된다 도도데 상지지 공바데 토발라 소모 동반지 셰르데 냐바도 구그레스와 냐바도 구그레스 데 소모 동반지 셰르 데라 말로나 상지지 공바데 토토고 말이 뭐또 와서 사모 동반지 제발 러비칼라 다 림바기도 사다 랑알이야 림바기도 젠도 그랬어 랑알아 림바기도 데 냥서라니 랑알아 다 소장 졸라 다 소조니데 맞을 어떤 찔렀어 데데데 찌우디 소조니라 갑자기 가릴로고 통나가서 가릴로고 다 통나가서 가릴로고 다 물로베 상지라 상지지 공바 토 차이제라 데 가르치고 그러네 로아 다 물론 상지 공부 더 차이제라 양자 로비야게 요마로와 다 상지 공부 더 차이 데 가르 제고면서 어다디 두어도 되리다 다 리더십 지르지 다 들리는 마시고
Actually, in these questions, in the actual questions, how should any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? So in these questions, basically, it talks about one wants to achieve the state of enlightenment, right? And in order to achieve the state of enlightenment, one has to go through 5 paths. And in order to go through five paths, one has to practice the profound emptiness. And how to practice the profound emptiness. So that is the questions. You can see, right? How to practice the profound emptiness. Why do we need to know? Because we have to go through 5 paths. Why do we have to go through 5 paths? Because we want to achieve the state of enlightenment. Yeah. So what are these 5 paths? And we have already gone through these already. So path of accumulations, path of preparations. So how to practice on the path of preparations and how path of accumulation and path of preparations. And these two are combined as one. So how to practice on the path of accumulation and path of preparations are combined as one. And then the second one is how to practice when you are on the path of seeing. The third one is how to practice when you're on the path of meditations. And the last one is how to practice how to practice, or what do you practice, what do you do after you have achieved the path of seeing, which path of no more learning, which is the state of enlightenment. So after you have achieved the state of enlightenment, what do you do? So then Avalokiteshvara answer Shariputra, right? So from here he said this, and the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the superior Avalokiteshvara said this to Venerable Sharavati Putra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should view it in this way. So this is the connecting passages in the answer part. So the previous one was here is the question part, right? And here is the answer part. And then in this answer part, then there is a part is connecting passages. So which is from here up to here, connecting passages. And the answer itself is there are 2 parts. One is the condensed answer. Another one is the extensive answer. So the condensed answer is they should correctly view those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. So this sentence itself is the condensed answer. So in this brief answer, they should correctly view those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. Talks about how do you practice when you are on the path of accumulation and path of preparation.
다시 풍부 되라든지 다치 강사대 라기지 마두고 마세스 동을안도 살다 장다 다시 풍부 와서 다시 풍부라든지 답이 나세 나한테 다시 들어와 나한테 답이 쳐 다시 풍부 들어와
다시 풍부 돼
다시 풍부 들어와 다 다시 풍부 되라든지 답이 나 라기지 라기지 마두고 마세 풍부 나고야 저기 좀 말해서 장다 되게 공도 백 다시 풍부라더니 다시 나랑이지 그게 동안 때 말해서 나지데 공사 저기 돼서 그래서 제이기 저는 같이 장다디 장다디 요마 질려고 왜 자 그런 스타일 지금 봐.
Yeah, so they should in this sentence they should correctly view those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. So those who have received teachings on Sutra from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, then probably you have heard this before regarding this word also. And seems like this word also is missing in the Chinese versions of Sutra. So I'm not so sure of that. Then you can check it yourself. So regarding this also, then this also shows that not only the I, which is not only the I that is imputed on the aggregates, the basis of the imputations is empty of inherent existence. Even the basis of imputations, that is the aggregates itself, is also empty of inherent existence. That is why this word is used in this sentence. So not only I that is imputed on the basis of imputation, which is aggregate, is empty of inherent existence. Even the basis of imputation, the aggregates, are empty of inherent existence. So that's why also the word is used here.
다들와 간다 된다 디치와 다딘도 딘들에 간다 부부가 대다 전화니 여기 동반 남바 양다바 지스타 오서 된도 디치 다 지시마 다 지시들에 다 수동바 동반이서 수레 동반이지만 동반이 저 수게 마이노세 다 되니마 지시려고와 어디시 다 가서 수동바 다무 수동바 동반이서 수레 동반이지만 동반이 저 수게 마이노스와 다 사모 지죠. 다 당보 수지 공부 치고다 공부하나 당보 수지 공부 치고도.
And the extensive answer starts from form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is not other than emptiness. Form is not other than emptiness. Starts from here. The extensive answer starts from here. Then, and these 4, you can see the form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is not other than emptiness. Let me check here. Sorry. Yeah. So form is also not other than emptiness. So form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is not other than emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. And this is the 4 modes of emptiness, or the 4 profundities.
다디 간다 딜마지 슝디 당와서 디카들은 가서 데와드노라 가서 수동바 동반이 수소세와 디기마 데와데 탄주와 그마 다 간다 된다 도도도 가서 탄주와 데와드마 데시드마 로그로와 탄주와 따와 데당데 다 디카들은 센자비 따와지 그게 다디 저런서 센자비 따와라 다 시다 좀 마죠 순서 디치제 고야간에 가고 레샤테 디마 쉬야미로와 센자비 따와데 베지 디노도 파jan지 슈미로와 다 제를 가서 전다 봐와 시간을 따와 대단한 마치 진이 디지스 하고 잡으러와.
So in how Avalokiteshvara answered in this commentary, it mentions about the mind-only school's assertions. However, I think that we are not quite ready for the mind-only school's assertions because we have not studied much about it. So I will not explain the mind-only school's assertions here. And most importantly, what the view that we should understand is the view of the Prasangika Madhyamika. So I will explain that part.
ngani me te se shoi dina oma me ba si jindwa o shoi dina oma me ba hini me ba ta tambo omi dina sho me ba se ta chi tongse de la nga de ma shao de mo nga de ma ngi chi omi dina sho me ba de ngani me be tongba ri ta de changzi pa chin go chin go ro omi dina sho de yo ma ri de me bi jin de ngani me tongba ri se da ta de roba in la sa shi gri changzi si ti je sa mi re de ya shi go na me na me shi da omi dina sho me ba ngani me bi tongba ri se 디 로바 부지 나와서 시는 거지.
So in general, there are five kinds. When we talk about emptiness, then in general there are five kinds of emptiness. So the first one is the absence of yogurt at the time of milk. That is the emptiness that is non-existence at a prior time. So this absence of yogurt at the time of milk, then I'm not sure whether you know of it or not, but as it for those like for as it the nomad or those nomad, then they will know about this, the absence of yogurt at the time of milk, and this is the emptiness that is non-existence at a prior time. So why does yogurt doesn't exist at the time of milk? Because it is emptiness that is non-existence at a prior time.
다 쇼선이 있는 하고 놓지로 돼.
So if you know how to make yogurt or if you are a yogurt maker, then you will know about this.
다 딩어서 우미진의 쇼가 매버서 정도 하고 오니 와서 길라다. 정도데 쇼선이 있는 하고로.
So do you know that how say yogurt is absent at the time of milk? So Geshe is asking us the questions. So whoever knows it, then you can unmute yourself and say yes to Geshe.
Yes, Geshe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you. 아따다리. 당어서 쇼데 오마 길라리 부르고. 아무 오마데 저리 오마데 신의 쇼속으로 와. 이 다다 이제 그거 지선다 장사 내가 이거.
Yeah, so as Jaya's answer, that's right. So at the time of milk, there is no yogurt, and yogurt comes after the milk. And how about the second kinds of emptiness, the absence of milk at the time of yogurt is the emptiness that is non-existence after having been destroyed. So what do you think about the second kind of emptiness?
That thing also several minor sorts of never sort of congregation today. Never Jakunetsala. Jakunetsala centration today. This century Tata Ligate. Shoitina, woman with Hini Tombasiat. Not to Jakura, that Jakudi, woman Mambuji, woman later Sunji, Jack with Sanja Tongura, Sola. That Kanda Jakudo, Oma good, Oma Rishona, Chaya Chagumarago, Oma Rishona, Oma Rina Chaya, Abu Chagumara. Jaguar Oma Mariba Chugurua. That's not so Oma Puri Tambo, Mambo Shibini, Oma Jakudo, Oma Kanga, Rini Chura Chasata. That just for Yoma.
United Chura
Chura Risana Chura Chasata, and I showed the Oma Risara. Oh, this that showed no Oma Meban, Shini Meba. Show this to Oma Maybe Jessica. That Oma the show like Manjuan Sarwa. What is essential?
So regarding the second kinds of emptiness, and I say those who serve tea in Sarah, for example, when we have some prayers gathering, or when we have some prayers prayer sessions, then those who serve tea, then they have this worry. So they regarding this second kind of emptiness, the absence of milk at the time of yogurt. So because if there is a prayer or there is a sessions then where many monks will gather, then they have to buy many milk, right? Because they have to serve the tea, and then they have to buy many bags of milk. So, and then if they do not keep those milk properly, and then those milk will start to in Tibetan words, and it's called rotten, so it's more like fermented. So then this milk will become yogurt. So this milk will become yogurt. So, and if the milk has already become yogurt, then you cannot use it to cook milk tea anymore, right? So since the milk has already turned into so this is the milk has already turned into yogurt. So then if it has become yogurt, then it's the second kind of emptiness, which is the absence of milk at the time of yogurt.
That is somebody to maybe such a Pumba maybe Hindu maybe Tombasi. That to maybe such a Pumba maybe Hindu maybe Tombasi. The chance how was it?
So not sure whether you know about the third kind of emptiness, which is the non-existence of a pot in a place where there is no bulbous thing, is the emptiness of the utterly non-existent.
Still a bit like the chance
so the example, the words, the example here given is the non-existence of a pot, right? So if you can also give me another example to show that as an example of emptiness of the utterly non-existence. So using this example, then you just change the words, for pot to something else, and then where there is no something, then you also change it to something else. So the words to be changed is pot and also bulbous thing.
That todo maybe such a Pumba Yomari, the Hindu maybe Tombarua, or Natsu de and the garden of attacking woman, maybe that maybe should say this. Kota in what the tag Chashi Pro Shishi Chadirwa. What that minute tag go you have for Yomara Sajutilla.
Toto
maybe Sajutilla, Toto maybe such a Pumba Yomari is a word that maybe just the Pumba Hindu maybe Pumba from maybe to say this. Pumba made it Toto Yomara. So
another example that I can give you is the non-existence of a horse head. The non-existence of a horse head the non-existence of a horse head in a place where there is no horse. The non-existence of a horse head in a place where there is no horse. Then is the emptiness of the utterly non-existence. Why there is no horse head? Because there is no horse at all.
Oh, did that Tomba da Kanda? That todo this summer don't kiss she wore. Todo maybe such a Pumba maybe Hindu maybe Tombasi. That todo was in a Pumbagi. Chia so todo da. Chia Jomit. The Pumba told me some Pumba told money in Yamara chance.
So this bulbous thing is where a pot or a vase store the water. So it has the round partner. So there is the bulbous things. So the non-existence of a pot in a place where there is no bulbous things, that is the emptiness of the emptiness of the utterly non-existent.
That is she got it. Balon done the Chile Jimmy with Tombasi. That did you on the Pachi Kodacha, one of them when Chile Jimmy with Tombarese.
So I believe that you understand the fourth kind of emptiness. The non-existence of a horse in an ox is the emptiness that is the non-existence of one thing in another.
One of them Chile Jimmy to one. That was did it. One of the Yoba Tumarwa. One of the Yomarwa. Not a Palang Tan the watch Yomara missing the wa. Tayoba Nipa Pana Yuxia Yomari. Rua Tayosa. The Pana Yobadla. 땅에 봐 여기서 게 요마로 코로니 대화 미세 요마는 겨와로 안 좋아 아나다 땅인 겨와로 봐 아나 이게 땅인 기지 요마로 신티마 요마로 와 신티바 지었으나 아나 이게 땅인 기지 요마로 이 요마로 와 내가 선다 코로니 동바 아나 따라 요바 동아리 여기 가르스나 아나 요새들 따 요가 요마 따 요가 요마리스 따 요새들 아나 요가 요마리스 이 동바리스 코로니 대화 기 요마리스 미세 와 코로니 겨와리스 어디로 다 지시라 안다데 지라 지시 매베 동바스 데려와 바나나 따위 동바 따라 바나 요비 동바 데려.
So the non-existence of a horse in an ox is the emptiness. That is the non-existence of one thing and another, right? So you can also change the words. Also, the non-existence of an ox in an horse is the emptiness. That is the non-existence of one thing in another. So, because a horse doesn't exist in an ox, right? So when there is an ox, then it's not necessarily they must have a horse there, right? So there must have an ox. Is not sorry. When there is a ox, when there is an ox, is not necessarily they must have a horse. Yeah, because horse and ox are unrelated. They are distinct. So there is no common locus of ox and horse. So what does it mean by common locus of ox and horse is if there is such a common locus of horse and ox, then they must be, there is one thing, it is a horse and it is an ox as well, but there is no such common locus.
이지로 다디 토요라 문제 나바들와 토요라 문제 제대로 몸에 방 원지 동바시 나바디 나바디
Yeah. So then the fifth one is the non-existence of a human at the time of mistaking a cane for a human is the emptiness of entityness.
네 저는 하고 그래야 기신나 하고 그러지 말이지 나도 신가 내가 전에 구서 하고 그러다디 그것도 신가 내내서 가르치면서 신가로는 배단 리신이나 또 가리나 다 미나시 샤는 소리 토요 미나시 지 레나버지 가리나 소리 샤자고도 하고 센치 많이 했지 미를 쳐야지 간다 그 이게 미지를 쳐야지 그러고 센치를 쳐야지 와 미진도서 쳐야지 많이 했지 그 토요 가는 샤우도 다 센치 샤자 쳐니다 미래 전시 지나치는 이유가 되고 말아 그 로도 사하리 신나진 되고 말아 다 가서 신가 내가 지내도 소이나 다 시구다가 뭐다 배선지 진세 현다고 로토 마사의 제도 다 신가는 그래서 샤그래 미나시 선에 라바다 깡바사마 두스 선에 샤자고 다들 저들 간다 그 미래도 우선 다 저들 샤자 어다 들로거다 소요라 문치 뭐리도 마다 저당도 지르와
Yeah, so the non-existence of a human at the time of mistaking a cane for a human is the emptiness of entityness. Then, to give you this example, then you will better understand this. So the non-existence of a human at the time of mistaking a scarecrow for a human is the emptiness of entityness. So those who been to a paddy field or paddy field then would have known about this. So they will put scarecrow there in the paddy field and then to scare the birds away or to scare those animals from eating those crops. So the scarecrow, they will make it in the shape that it looks like a human, so with hands and legs, etc. So the non-existence of human at the time of mistaking a scarecrow for a human is the emptiness of entityness.
다들 동생아도 다들 동생아부터 동생의 동반이 동그라 동고 말이 이장서 좋아지게 그러와
동생아
단다 동생아 동생아부터 다 원미드나 교면은 안에 미리 동바도 와요 쇼이드나 오마메번에 신의 미리 동바 그래서 동바도 동생아 돈이 또 그래
당보대
어디서 림바기도 가리나 근데 가나도 타마 동바도 또 와이나 동반이 또 그래 이 좋아지게 그러와.
Yeah. So there are 5 kinds of emptiness mentioned here, right? So if one realize these 5 kinds of emptiness gradually, or realize these all 5 kinds of emptiness altogether, or realize these 5 kinds of emptiness in gradual order. So if they realize so, do they necessarily realize emptiness?
My answer is no.
Oh.
Thomas that did Tombanga Tony Donatini, Paget Tony Torres. Got it. Gaza is Gaza now. Tony Torres, Paget Torres.
Yeah, so that is correct. Yeah, because if if someone realized these 5 kinds of emptiness is said to realize, is said to be realized emptiness, then probably then I will be very happy, because then I can say I have I realize emptiness, because I realize, or I understand these 5 kinds of emptiness, right? So however, the answer is no. So when you realize, or when you understand these 5 kinds of emptiness, then it doesn't mean that you realize emptiness. Yeah, so just as Mr. Kwa answered, yeah, if you realize these 5 kinds of emptiness, doesn't mean that you realize emptiness.
Can I ask a question? I might answer because they are not dependent arising. For example, like the head of an ox and the human, they are totally unrelated. So in terms of the yogurt and the milk, this question I'd like to ask is that yogurt is dependent on milk. Without milk, there will be no yogurt. So when you say that yogurt is there's no milk, there is a technical mistake there. Because if something were to dependent on something, it cannot exist either before or after that which is it depended upon must be simultaneously there. And that also got a little bit of problem, like I may continue, is that what Nagarjuna says is that if they were to exist simultaneously, because since one cannot exist before the other, then it doesn't make sense, because one cannot be dependent on the other. For example, if the milk and the yogurt were together, then the milk could not be the cause of the yogurt. On the other hand, if there was no milk at all, there was no such thing called milk, then yogurt could not have happened. So if milk didn't come, or milk has disappeared, there will be no yogurt. Nothing can come out of yogurt if there was no milk. So my question is interdependence or dependent arising. But then Geshe says that the milk goes away, the yogurt appears when the milk is not there. This one gives me a sort of a sense of discomfort.
Yogurt is there. Yogurt is there, then there is no milk anymore. So this one, then you have some sense.
Milk must not to say there's no physical milk. Milk must exist, because if milk don't exist together with the yogurt, then there is no dependent arising, because yogurt depends on milk to become a yogurt. The cause of a yogurt, the substance cause, is the milk. So if milk is the cause of the yogurt, milk must always be there when there's a yogurt, isn't it? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense anymore.
That's all. Yeah, any day kasa maris di kasa di tongsunga di toa ina di tongi di togo maris di res and togo maris di lingya warwa. Any day kasa di kasa gyumzen di kasa len di jebi gyumzen di kanizna any kongso dindi marisa. Kongso dindi marisa. Any day 我们堂有学的有些有了，我们空气那的空气什水呢？我们堂学呢，突击了有个人啥，突击了有个人啥，那的 我们的求了，求呢，的可是这部一个cấp số，养有个人啥，大把有个人啥，现在的可是的空间呢，空间上出的人啥，现在的下靠不多啥。
네, 쇼이티나 오마도 메로 그랬어. 그래서
show cấp số rồi.
쇼 디스 가르스나 나서 나지 용달아 가서 제프 두바다 중가바 디냐 있어. 나지. 제프데 두바 중가바 디냐 있어. 나지. 와. 제프도 두딘 제프데기 주데 오데 때가 가는 거.
주념을 얘기.
가바 디냐.
주념.
제프 제바다 중가바 디냐 있어. 대급스러워. 딜로딩 아주 쇼이티나 오마 메바데 신이 메비 동바레자 당봉 아주 오마데 쇼소 그러와 오마데 쇼소데 다 오마데 리누고 내가 쇼차 그러와 다 오마데 쇼고 파 루사디 다 오마데 리사리 쇼고 루사디 데코로 오마 그거 데요 마디 데 메리 데코 쇼 신이 메바세 딜로그도와 신이 메비 동바서데 쇼이티스 오마데 히차레스 시차스는 엄마들 그래서 가르치고 매바 차사를 놓아라. 어디로 네 나중에 가서 지당 단대데 먼저 신호바 주소를 간다. 인제비 디스트리트 열로 그래야 되는 요 신호바. 어떤 거네 되보지 말아요. 되보지 말아요. 아마요. 어디다 리레스로.
Yeah. So, what we say is, what we generally say is, at the time of yogurt, milk doesn't exist. Yeah. At the time of yogurt, milk doesn't exist. So it links to the point that when we say result, when the result is achieved, when the achieving of the result and the ceasing of the cause is simultaneous. Achieving of the result and ceasing of the cause is simultaneous. So at first it is in the nature of milk, right? They use the milk to make the yogurt, right? So at first it is in the nature of milk. Then when they ferment it, then this milk, the nature of that milk has become the nature of yogurt already. So that the nature of milk has become the nature of yogurt. So that's why it says here, the absence of milk at the time of yogurt is the emptiness that is non-existence after having been destroyed. So after having been destroyed means that it doesn't after it becomes it doesn't exist anymore. So it becomes non-existent. So when the milk has become yogurt, then the milk is destroyed or has become non-existent. Yeah.
Excuse me. My argument is this, Yeshua, is yes, the milk is the cause for the yogurt. So when the milk ceases to be, the yogurt arises. That's okay. But my question, my claim is that once the cause has ceased, then only although discuss it simultaneously, but then only the yogurt appears when the milk has gone. So then the milk could not be the cause of the yogurt. If the cause was not present in the result, then it cannot be the cause of the result. That's my understanding. The cause must be present. The cause disappears. Then the argument is, how can then it become the cause for the result for the yogurt? If it has already disappeared, then the yogurt appears. Then how can you say that the milk is the cause of the yogurt taking place? You know?
Any day because of the tunyam de roisla. Any day because of Jebu Jubatang, Gyukawate, tunyam race. Any because Woma de Shoge Gures. Any day Woma de Gawaina, Jebu Shode, any day to be ora. Any yeah. Any Tambo any day Woma, because yeah, in Tuchi la roisla. Juba tang de gaba de tuji rawa. Dendi na kongi samsui na gyu de inji minji jebu gi kapsu yores. Kainsi na gyu desi gyu de jebu kapsu mena kaza jebu de gyu de kande lap tugi resa. Gyu de jebu gi kapsu meba chawai na. Any di Jebu di gyu di res candela two res. Oh, di me bachawaina di Jebu di gyu re candela two resa.
The Chara pen Rapu should be losses roa. Tang on it's over Jay Dakri, debate debate side.
Yeah, it's quite as I think Gisela said, it's a good point to debate.
I'm calling out debate task time.
Yeah, I'll be with you, Mr. Kwapa today.
I want to actually the example of short and long is better. When if you call something long, then there must be something short. So if there's no short at any moment of time, long doesn't exist. So one cannot exist before the other. That's my question related to this yoga.
So any day because I think get the page shower is a Jimbo Tang Tung Tung in a Jimbo Tang the Jimbo the Tung Tung race. Any day because I the Dingy and Tabu Reza. Any day Jimbo race Lawaina Tung Tung de Antilla to Euro. She any day Jimbo love to him or the Taranang.
Tangi John Pipat does it on Tangi does it on with that. That's time. Jit Matu again. That Jangi Jibu because Jud never in a thing, Jibu the Jud Kandi Mahako Mares, Laroa. That dear Hako Mares and Jibu Tosna, Jud Toga Mares. Amatiki Puna, which mission that Tobuji, Put Tobaina. That cook Amada Tomanuna, Put the Tonurua. Put Tonto, Tapugula Amaji Yobako, Chinahago, the Amad Shingo Marwa. Mashi by no Pugud. So Puda pay Lota Pugina, that Paranga to Woy Baji. Pushing Cook Amadi, then you pass by Yomara. Amadi Yora, the Amadi Yoba could touch about Shigura. Shigura in Amadi Shigmara, Tonio Marashin. Yenashi, Naso, Machine Country and Meadow Nijibu Jiguduna. Meadow Chidina, Meadow Nijibu Shivicha. Think Sabi the country or Sabi the Hani Haku make Kandina Tashi, Wasabi Jirava Chek is the Let's not check it. Sabi the machine, Yoro, Chingmara, or Meadow Ninja was Sabi the condition at that Shing Sasala in the Bachurina, David Shigora. Shigua, Meadow Ninja was Shigora, Libo.
It is Kazan, Joa Mebana, she chagges, and it is not good day Meba Chawina, debuted to do a good day Meba Chawina, and it is Jewa de Mebana, she the child is a child.
Need a new with the Sabi Dodo Mebachano. Sabi the new to be Jibroa, Jura,
Sabina.
Oh, Sabi the Sabi Dodo de Masan to Gala, Nudia with the new coin, the coin you get the Kobe Chasaro. Dear Keo Maris, that's not
Maybe Chasaroi. Oh, that's all. Yeah. So, how say, like, for example, when we see a child, then even though we see the result, right? The child is born by his mother, for example. So when we see the child, then this child has a mother. So this child has a mother. This child has a mother, and then his mother is his cause. Then, even though we do not see the cause, even though we cannot tell the cause. However, we know that this result comes from a cause, right, which is his mother. Similarly, when we see a flower on the roadside, then even though we cannot tell from what kind of seed it arises, but we can tell that this is the result of a seed, right? Of that particular, of a seed, of a seed. Even though we cannot tell, but we can, even though we do not see the cause, but we can tell that it is the result of its seed. So, and then similarly, when we see the rice sprout, and then when the rice sprout is produced, then the seed, which is the rice seed itself, has doesn't exist anymore, right? So this is my my point.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you. That the old man was a big on to that big on along the toilet mentor, maybe the Latin one to Tombasi, that was a candela, the Tonsi, they did not share a lot. Toilet mentor, that's Sutomba to Edroa, Suranji to be Tomba, Tonsi the Carsina, that under Tambobe, Suranji to Banando. Suranji to Banawati, Tana Matuba Nashi. Dernamado, Tambo Pedro, Toyola Mentua, Chudi, Chua Nashin Toyo to Michael Maria, but that another Michael Marwa, near is me Marwa. That other day, one Tomba, big digital also, another level, Sutomba was a Gilman That
Toyola, the me Nangiori, the me to give
you Mate, me, but one Tombas, one Tombas, well, Tomba she would be in Dilma Liwa, Dig Pedma. Was in Toyota, me to Chuba Nashi, Yana Yosa Yomarwa. Chuba Nashi, Toyota Mimarwas. That do me but one Tomas. Roa, Ming one Tombarwa, Toyota.
Me
or Ming war Tombarwa, Ming war Marwa. Oh, that day, Nashi paid the Nashi as a Walma, Tombani, that Dilma, paid it on years or Rang way Tombasia, that I used to Tombas and Tombani is what they paid the Majani. Roa, didn't do your race without paid it up.
Tamati. Yeah. So, So, it links to the point in the Heart Sutra. So, form, form, though it appears as true inherently existence, however, it doesn't exist inherently. So, though it appears inherently, but inherently existence, but it doesn't exist inherently. So this is the meaning. So and then it has some relation with the last one. So the last one, then the example that we mentioned just now is the non-existence of a human at the time of mistaking a scarecrow for a human is emptiness of entityness, right? So even though the scarecrow appears as a human, however, it doesn't exist as a human. It doesn't exist as a human. So even though it looks like it appears like a human, but it is not a human, right? It doesn't exist as a human. It is not a human. So this scarecrow is empty of the entityness of a human. So is emptiness of entityness, right? The last one. So it is emptiness of entityness of a human, or empty of entityness of a human.
Oh, digi. That also Kanda, Trima, Tia, word, just two, Tangas, Sharon, Yodo, Medo, Tangas, Sutomba, Tomba, the Suli, Tomani, Suki, Maino, so that is Sharon, show when it on that Juja did that. That dishes and the Sharon, Chanza Shesa. Sharon, Chanza Shesa, that day. That dig Tanda Yamu, Tanda Yamu Shesna. You gently do so that Tomban Chanta Shesa, that's it. Tanga to Sharon book. That Dicala not to touch such in this material. That Dicala not to this it. That Kichi did that. Sutomba, Tombani, Sule Tombani, my Tombani, Suki, Mino, Dictates are at the Walma, can't you jida, Chinchi Jonida. That's what Chana Jipa Majai, and the Jai Jipa Chijan. That Dilla, a kitchen would ditch on it, that on I would take that.
Yeah. So we have come to this point. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. So this is the essence in this sutra. So if we know about this, then we know the essence in the extensive, the middling, and the condensed mother or the Pakyaparamita Sutra. So, and if we understand these four, then we also can understand in relation to feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness. And based on this understanding, then we also can understand the emptiness in relation to 12 sources and 18 elements.
다 담보가 뒤뒤지 마지요이나 맞아 담보 수 동바 오세 다 뜻이 카도 가서 고대부 담보 들면 뜻 뒤뒤지 되시 지잖아 와. 다수 동바 오세야데 와. 다 수데 장이 주베 동바 다 랑 심지 주베 동바 랑에 주베 동바세 뜻 참아 된다 지벌 가샤데 다 슐라 가샤도 말 제를 가서 티에 와. 가샤 뜻이 지당 마 가샤데 다수 동바 오세야데 다 수데 고대부시나 수대 주다 제 강라 마테바 두요 마레스 맞으와 맞을 수고 사진이지 수고 세와데 제 마모지 춘뒤네 수분지 두바레 마도 제 마모지 만디바 수고스네 두야 자와니 요 말와 오 담보 뜻수 강라 마테바 랑인지 동바아지 데레 도와 강라 주치다 주다 제 차시 강라 마테바 랑인지 두바지 요 말데 동바레 예서보다 다들 담보 카투 바타나 디스 고데보도와 다바 띵 사르사 지지 전에 디스 가래 가고 물어마도.
Yeah. So form is emptiness. So form is emptiness. As it's saying that form is empty of inherent existence, empty by way of its own characteristics, empty from its own side. So all these so all these are the same. And then in relation to these, then in later time, I will explain about object of negations. So then later we will have a better understanding. So in this, at this point of time, then when we say form is emptiness, then we understand that form is empty of inherent existence. Form is empty by way of its own characteristics. Form is empty from its own side. So this is what we understand, and then they all mean the same. So what it means is form doesn't exist without depending on cause and conditions and on parts. So form doesn't exist without depending on cause and conditions parts.
다 카투바 드리 가서 도도지말레 지 도도지말라이 다 수tomba오 사다 수랑 이집에 tomba오 사딘다 수tomba오다 수랑 이집에 tomba오 어디게 와.
Yeah. So form is emptiness means that form is empty of inherent existence.
다 수랑 이집에 tomba레세 다 단다 들어와 수랑 이집에 tomba레 다 수랑 이집에 tom바레데 그냥 tom바니 수소서 친이바지도와 tom바니 수소 다 수랑지 집에 tom바이나 수데 다 랑지 집에 tom바이 있으나 다 수데 때는 매바 차그레세 다 도와놓시 랑지 집에 tom바 랑지도 메스나 랑지 집에 자와니 요마레스 너사라 수데 다 수데 랑지 집에 요마레스 다 랑지 집에 메자디 수데 때도 매바 차사레세 도와 수데 때도 매바 차사 다 수데 때도 매바 차바 마레 수데 랑지 주비 동비 나레 다수 열에서 수데 타니데 열에서 동반이 수소와서 동반이 수소서 수데 랑지 주바 여마레 랑지 주비 동바레 랑지 주비 동비 나레 그 수데 타니데 열에서 다 동반이 수소서 들고 하지
수 타니도 요.
타니데 열에서 동비 나레 수데 타니데 열에서.
So form is emptiness means that form is empty of inherent existence. So then you might have questions. So if form is empty of inherent existence, so does it mean that it doesn't exist at all? So it doesn't. The answer is no. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist at all. So what then it leading to the second sentence, which is emptiness is form. So emptiness is form means that while being empty of inherent existence, it exists because that form exists conventionally. While being empty of inherent existence, form exists conventionally. Yeah. So form is emptiness means that form is empty of inherent existence. Then you might have a questions. So since form is empty of inherent existence, so would it become non-existent at all? Then the answer is no. Then because emptiness is form. So emptiness is form means that while being empty of inherent existence, form exists conventionally.
다 동반이 수소세 가서 시카둘라 동반이 수소세 돈이 수자와니 말와 돈이 수 말이 동반이 수소세데 다 거야 두세 동비가 라지 주비 동비가네 내 수데 타니리 요리 에세 디땡에서 와 라지 주비 동비가네 수 타니리 요리 에세 동반이 데 수리에서 때 말이라고 한다 이 자와니 말이 와
Yeah. So the wordings here is emptiness is form, right? So emptiness is not, emptiness is not form. So what should we understand in relation to this sentence is while being empty of inherent existence, form exists conventionally.
that is quadiwa that jidang also 동반이 수소세 델라 디센 레당 디센 마라 요르 이제 과제당 디센 마라 다단다 등이 이제 과단 최대본 나지 망부지기 두선 대화 제고래 미시 제고래 네 디지 팟 카두 디스 고대고라 수대 라이 지트비 동바레 라이 지비 동바레 라이 지비 여마레 매바이나 다타 베스 크로 타니데 매바 차레스나 데 차마레 베스 타니데 매바 차여 마레 데 라이 지비 동빙 안에 데 수대 여레스 된다데 되고래 에세르다 와 다 들리지 상도나 디스 에셀라 고대버 이거래
예수대 요래 간디 요래 한예도 요러와.
달리 이거지
Yeah. So in relation to this, and there are many interpretation. There are many commentaries. There are many ways to comment on this sentence or this point. And however, this explanation that I mentioned just now is very easy to understand. So, form is empty of inherent existence, right? So since if you have a question that form is empty of inherent existence, so does it become non-existent? Yeah, the answer is no. So why? Because while being empty of inherent existence, its nature is while being empty of inherent existence, it exists. Form exists. How does it exist? It exists conventionally.
디지타 제리한테 티에다 월마지로게 다 술에 동반이게 마이세 로아 술에 동반이게 마이세 다지는 저런 제임바 메시지 타임바 디디서 술에 동반이게 마이세데 다 술에 대장시 동반이 오시 마이세 술에 대장시 동반이 오시 마이세 와 술에 대장시 동반이 오시 마이세
Yeah. So emptiness is not other than form. Emptiness is not other than form means that its emptiness of inherent existence is not a distinct entity from form. Its emptiness of inherent existence is not a distinct entity from form. It's the meaning of this emptiness is not other than form.
수지 장기 동반이다 동반이래자 수지 많이 넣어서 동반이래자 수지 많이 넣어서 수지 장기 동반이래자 수 무엇이든 못하대 많이 넣어서 못하대 많이.
So emptiness is not other than form means that emptiness its emptiness of inherent existence is not a distinct entity from form. not only that, its emptiness of inherent existence is not a distinct entity from form. Form is also not other than emptiness form is also not other than emptiness. Means that form is also not a distinct entity from its emptiness of inherent existence of form. You understand? So form is not other than emptiness, means that form is also not a distinct entity from the emptiness of inherent existence of form.
다 간다시나 데 카드 고데 것이나 가서 수레 동반이게 많이 동반이게 수게 많이 넣어서다 덴반이 오예메 밖에 시고 데니 오예메 다 카드바 페샤바이나 수코랑 바잖아 수코로 바잖아 수코랑 오데 라기 주비 동빙 오레 해요 말레스 카드 잡아이나 수코랑 라기 수랑기 주비 동발레 오시 메시 로아 수데 수랑기 동발레 오시 레스
수 대장신이 주비 동바
동발레 오시 요 말레스 수데 라기 주비 오 라기 주비 동빙 오로와 수코랑 수코랑 라기 주비 동빙 오로와 수데 라기 주비 동빙 오레스와 수랑이 주비 동빙 오레 수랑이 동빙 오레 수데 세 말레스 와 수랑이 주비 동빙 오레 수세 말레스 다 되니까 되는 거 이미 다 하셔서 수제 군조 대마시 수랑이 주비 동한테 된다 대마시 그때 가도 되니예요 뭐예요 봐 수제 군조 대마 수랑이 주비 동바데 된다 대마 다 되니 뭐예요 봐 되니 뭐예요 봐
So basically, this third and fourth modes of emptiness, which is emptiness, is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. Then these two shows that two truths are not. Two truths are indivisible. Two shows that two truths are indivisible. The two truths are conventional truth and ultimate truth. So the example is like form. Form is in the nature of empty of inherent existence, right? Forms is in the nature of empty of inherent existence. So form is not a distinct entity from its emptiness of inherent existence. So form is not a distinct entity from its emptiness of inherent existence. So form itself shows that form is the conventional truth, and emptiness of inherent existence is the ultimate truth.
당연하죠. 되니 뭐예메 수레 동반이 쉐마이 동반이네 수쉐마이 넣어서 된반이 된 뭐예메 된 거다. 예, 간다. 되니 뭐예메 봐. 다 수군조 된바다 대랑이 동반은 된다 된 말에 되니 뭐 다대 말에 되니 뭐예메 봐. 예세 되니 뭐 다대 말에서. 수당 수데이트더랑 동반이 되니 뭐 다대 말에 뭐예메 뭐 지레스 뭐 지레스 뭐 지레스 와 수근조 대마 되니 뭐예메 다 되니다 타림 보자 뭐 수고로 잡았다 수고로 근조 대마 수랑이 집에 동바대 된다 대마 다 수구대 된다 대마 와 다 되니 수지 때도 된다 대마다 수 근조 대마 되니 뭐 지바 뭐 예메 봐 뭐 타대 말했어 어디래
So emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. So these two shows the indivisibility of two truths. So these two truths are indivisible. So you don't have to think about these two truths as something very far. Then you just apply it to one's form. So form itself is the conventional truth, and the emptiness of inherent existence of form is the ultimate truth. So saying that these two truths are indivisible means that their entity is they are not of different entity. They are not of different entity, and their entity is one, or they have one entity. Their entity is indivisible.
오, 네. 다 간단 가서 들 양세 다루 빼자데 같이 지야리로와 제르마 이제 맞아. 수 동바오 동바니 수소 수레 동바 풍봉가는 담보 수디게 제시고다. 풍봉가는 담보 수동 거 지잖아때 소위 풍번디시 풍번스 참아. 내 진지 존이 카주지 참말로 자동 대가는 하다. 다 담보 딩거 치고 제고다. 이 현다 건가라 찌빠 찌정을 했다. 수 동바오 동바니 수소 수레 동바니 수이게 많이 넣어서 다 딩거 치잖아. 좋아 동바오 동반이 좋아서 좋아래 동반이가 좋아 시험이 창다 제가 기발다. 오늘 창다 기발지가 다 된거 지거다. 내 안장 가서 무슨 뜻이 쉬어야 이거.
So yeah, so so I rephrase what I just mentioned. So two truths, conventional truths and ultimate truths. The nature is not distinct. The nature is one. So the nature is not distinct. The nature is one. The nature is indivisible. So is what it means, or what is indicated from these two sentences. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. So it's very important to understand these four modes of emptiness. Four modes of emptiness referring to these four modes. First one is form is emptiness. The second one is emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form is the third one. And the last one is form is also not other than emptiness. So it's very important to understand these four modes of emptiness, because if we understand these four modes of emptiness, then we understand the rest. So we can change the form, this word form, to something else, for example, to feeling. Then it becomes feeling is emptiness, emptiness is feeling, emptiness is not other than feeling, feeling is also not other than emptiness.
수데 동반이 수기게다 간다 동반이 생 예수디 수코랑 예수로 주시 동치 수코랑 예수네 그 수기게다 동반이 스케 시고래 수게 마서 봐 수기게다 동반이 생 자원이 예수야 말 좋아 수기게다 동반이 신발라 담보 수데 예수고래 동시 수데 예수고래 수데 예수네 그 수데 라지 집에 동바르다 시네디 신나마 된다 소당고래
Yeah. So regarding these two truths is indivisible. The entity is indivisible. The entity is one. The entity is same. The entity is not distinct. So it's very important to understand. So in order to understand the emptiness. In order to understand the emptiness, then we must identify the basis of emptiness. So we must first identify the basis of emptiness. Then only then we can understand its emptiness. So so to apply to this is in order to understand emptiness on the basis of form, we must first identify form. Yeah, so it's logical, right? So in order to understand the emptiness on the basis of form, one must first identify the form. So this is what Kishla just mentioned. So in order to understand the emptiness, then one must identify the basis of emptiness. So in this case, the basis of emptiness is form. So one must identify the form first.
Okay. 수랑이 집에 동바다 순이다 오지바 당 오지버다 수데 수랑이 집에 동바다 수지랑이 집에 동바래 다 수데 오셔야 말레스 다 빼샤는 거는 순이 다와 나와 무슨 순이 다와 나와다 대 다와 마두바 니 오지 오타리 말이로 순이 다와 나와다 순이 다와 나와데 나시 다와 레베스 마루아
다와 마주바니
오 순이 다와 나와다 다와 마주바니 오지레 다데 말레스 때 대나시다 다 수랑이 주반 나가리 나와나시 전화 내와 소자 아니 집에 동화다 오지
Yeah, so to understand form and form is empty of inherent existence, and to understand these two, as the entity is not distinct, the entity is one. Then the example is, so when we talk about the reflections appearing as a moon, so the reflections of a moon, the reflections appearing as a moon, and it doesn't exist as a moon. These two are one entity. Is not of different entity. So the reflection appearing as a moon, and it doesn't exist as a moon. These two are one entity, not different entity.
다 간다 리고 진짜 저는 손이 나와 나오래 되나 이 뭐에 저기 나와 너무 나시 말와스 와 손이 나와 나오래 너무 나시 나와 말와스 나와 많이 왔습니다 다 손이 나와 나와데 이 나와 마두바 차되어와 나와 미네 마두바 차서 나와 마두바다 뭐지 나 뭐지도 따단지도 그도와 뭐지 뭐 다데 말해세
Sunyi dawa nawa de ni tina wana shin dawa maris ni de dawa maduba de chapio. Yeah. So the reflection appearing as a moon. So the reflection appearing as a moon, in reality, that reflection is not a moon, right? So it is not a moon as it appears, right? Even though it appears like a moon, it is not a moon, right? So reflection appearing as a moon pervades the second point, which is it doesn't exist as a moon. It doesn't exist as a moon. So you can see, the first one, it pervades the second one also, right? So the reflection appearing as a moon. So it pervades the second point, which is it doesn't exist as a moon. So these two are the same entity, not different entity.
다 집앞에 대화나시 순이 나서배 메루나라배 순이 시기지 똥발에 바 순이 파탄디 시기 이마 짜 나서 티 요라 나서 난 순이 요라 땡데 요라고 나서 남고 요라 수이데 시기 나라배 수수기 동바데 원에 장에 동요라 지 동요라 다시 순이 요라서 땡데 요레스 다 땡데 요르데 이나 배 원에 시기데 나와 나시데 시기 레베스나 데 마레라고라 다 마로 안에 그래서 어디 다 순이 시기 똥발에 다 순이 뭐 타리데 그 말에 뭐 지레서 와 순이 배 시기 똥발에 순이 뭐 타리데 내가 나시게
본다 가서 순이
시기 간다 시기 똥발에 뭐 똥발에 순이데 뭐 타리 시 말레스 시기 똥발 와 순이데
일단 숨바다 시바데 시기요.
뭐 내가 다 순이데 배 대화로 샤고에 내가 배 집어로 와 배 다 순이데
계신나와
계신이 봐 농거리데 나와 나시 시기 말와스 내 시기 많이 벗는다 간다 순이 뭐 타데 말에 뭐 지레스로 와 똥발에 뭐 시 말에 시기 똥발에다 뭐 지레스 네데
순이 그래서 순이 계신나와 당 그래서 계신 마주바 마주바디 뭐 지라이 Yeah. So then another example using the same logic, and then we to give you another example is the first example is reflections of a moon, right? Then the second example is reflections of a face in the mirror. Reflections of a face in the mirror, and it doesn't exist as a face. These two are one entity, not different entity. So I repeat. The reflections of a face in the mirror, and it doesn't exist as a face. These two are one entity, not different entity.
there 간다. 다 지난지가 순이지 열스는 열스로고라 돼. 열로고라 돼. 데 매번 말와. 순이지 능고문에 너무 나시지 시기 레베스는 데 말에스로고라. 뭐 순위지 요원이 가서 세미 통해 요래 단위도 요러와 순위 요라 단위도 어디
Yeah, so then if you ask the question is, does reflections exist? Reflections does exist. It's just that, does it exist as it appears? Does it exist as a phase as it appears? Then the answer is no. So does reflection exist? Yes, reflections exist. Does reflections exist as a phase? So yeah, does reflections of a phase does reflections of a phase, does phase exist as it appears in the mirror? Then the answer is no, it doesn't exist.
야, 다들이 대샤기 당아도 니간로 티에 있을마. 질 다루들 마세세. 다디 동반이 수서 정서 수 동반이 수레 동반이 수게 많이 대 양세. 생각좀 된다도 같이 티에 있을와. 다디 배 샤네. 다도 같이 마 배 샤네 마 양세 제. 다디 냐빠도 가서 셔러니 볼 된고 치바 제고했다. 다 요도 미도 대 인지 미지 참망 디세 간단고 치바 제고했어. 된고서 양세. 다 셔러니 뭐 연나면 들이스 간다.
Yeah, so regarding these four modes of emptiness, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. Then this is the essence in the Heart Sutra. So we have to make sure we understand this. So I will revisit these four modes of emptiness again and again.
디가도 저도 상담하다가 동반이지 단합에 추지기 상담하는 필요 같이 이어서 같이 뭐 시사봐. 다 동반지 대한테 수 동반와서 다 든지 인상사 소소가 상지 동반에 다 필요 없죠. 코아지야기 배 계절 코아지야기 주스파 가투그레스니 내 필요 들이도와. 와. 다 동반지 대한 추지 상담하이나. 주스파 가투야기 내 필요해서 다 디가 상담하고 시스와 들이되샤이.
So after you go back and then think about this, think about the meaning of emptiness also. So because if we think about the meaning of emptiness, then the benefits is, one of the benefits is one will be able to stop the cause of samsara.
Thank you. Three days ago, 당아주 기자들이 방문하지. 다 기자원들한테 주tem받지거든 로아디오. 더 공사장을 좀 주고 딘지지 제시 담아 사주 관의 수요가 땜받은 더 이제 그새 인도 제번 해쇼 군 제바다 다 아란자라까지 다바지 제주도만 세버로 뭐치초 아카다 땜받은 더 이제 그새 인도 딘 제번 해쇼 군 제바다 다단다 나니들 남마주다 니야로서 대답하 이유도 또 왔다 다 심지 체는 대세나 체고와 토면서 비바다는 상지지 공부니도 토야다 다 네번이 하나 두서 정말 가다 로바진게 다 간다 멤버다 너스다 네오다 다 벤조도 로바진게 간디지나 프랑스 청와바 세리님이 예지 피신서 봐 유하다 상지지 공부가 니도 토야 원들이 칠바 이상와 있어와.
Yeah, so we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue accumulated, especially through these Dhamma discussions. We dedicate these roots of virtue for the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and for sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to the upholders of Buddha's Dharma, represented by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May His Holiness live eons long, excellent health, and may his enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread to all directions. And we also, in particular, we dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May Rinpoche's live eons long, excellent health, and may Rinpoche's enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread to all directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue for the world peace, and may the world be free of wars, conflict, pandemic, and disasters. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who pass away, and also those who are experiencing this suffering. So may they quickly be freed from sufferings, and may they quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who help others, like those who help others financially. So may they live long and excellent health, and then quickly achieve the state of enlightenment.
大给今年早比
给我的典当中啊，供了康边当切帮记住路上找我一点没人波人都是接受，讲究生就人波切帮切帮那给有几切帮两帮没帮呀，一个都陪我说，想别保卫其他看帮那工作上坡这样，但是对他公给结束道路切给我对他当接绕多我，他话人波切帮切帮那给有几切帮两帮没帮呀，过年过都陪我说，人民到我人波切帮切帮那给有几切帮两帮没帮呀，过年过都陪我说。你将本给为的这个每位贵属都或者就是不为人们做主把到时都些更多小点说，结束都就别让其切实在看见点对跟强那边莫等这个说老实话得说现在的多说。几天看的变天马六八，看的就为上边一些弄个的出门等这个说老实话得说都些人多说，看的绕为口味情况的。因为那今日是往等这个所以下辈子的话都等有句。